for the third episode of the Peak Passenger Seat. We have former Peak swimmer, Justin Bertelsman.
Hello.
Hey, all right, well, here we go.
Oh, gosh.
All right, Justin, how did you get started in swimming?
So, my mom was a swimmer way back in the 80s. She swam for the University of Texas, which at the time was probably one of the best teams in the world. So she was a really good 200 flyer. Growing up, I was always, I always felt like I was kind of the spitting image of my mom. And so she put me and my little brother in swim lessons when we were 3, and we absolutely hated it. Like it was the worst thing. Like the woman teaching us would force us underwater, head face up, before we knew how to blow water or bubbles out of our nose. And so my mom said that I would dry heave every single day on the way, and my younger brother, who's a bit more stoic, would silently dry heave. And so she took us out of that, and she thought she would never have a swimmer. But then I started doing summer league whenever I was 6, whenever I lived in Louisiana. So that was kind of the start, way back when.
And when did you join club for the first time?
I was probably 8. So I was on a team called Crawfish Aquatics in Baton Rouge, which I think is what Jaden and Hannah were.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
I should know that.
Yeah. But then I moved to Texas whenever I was 9 and was doing club here with you.
Yes. And what club was that?
That was Aquastar. Yeah. Way back when.
And when did you join Peak?
The same time as you. So your
2008?
Yeah, your first day was my first day.
Wow.
So that was, yeah, I think I was 11 or something like that.
12 years in March, after spring break.
It almost feels longer than that though. It feels like a long time, but it feels like it's been a lot longer than just 12 at this point.
Wow. Yeah. To me, I always say it goes by fast.
Yeah. And
it's kind of hard to believe that it's gone by this quickly.
Yeah.
So, tell me some of your fondest memories about swimming with Peak.
I was hanging out with Catherine Wu, Madison Eaker, and Kelsey Pierce 2 days ago. So we got lunch, and we just reminisced about all of the most ridiculous things. And so some of the things you probably won't like this. Actually, I have 2 that you probably won't like too much. But a lot of what we talked about was all the times that people just got in trouble, and I thought it was the most funny thing ever. It was hilarious. Because I was never the one getting in trouble, but I remember Catherine would always almost miss a race because she was reading a book at the meet or something like that, and then all of a sudden Coach Juan would be like, "Catherine, get behind the blocks!" And she would grab her cap and goggles and just mad dash. And she would miss her races all the time. And then I remember at tags, they always, I don't know, do they still do the parade?
They've kind of phased it out.
Okay. So they used to do this parade at tags where all of the teams, it was almost like an Olympic, the Olympic parade at the beginning of the ceremonies. And it was, each team had a banner. And I remember Catherine, it always goes back to Catherine somehow. I don't even know people, it's so weird because I feel we're so old now, so they don't even know us.
Yeah.
But Catherine, we were walking around and we were let's do P-E-A-K. And Catherine, for whatever reason, thought she was just the funniest person ever, and she would just go, F-C-S-T, F-C-S-T, all the way around, just laughing at herself. And the rest of us were just no, no.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that, and then some of my better swim meets always stick out. So we went to Far Westerns twice. Oh. And those were good meets for me.
Yeah.
Good. But then the one that I thought of right before I got in the car, because I wanted to think of one with you. One that I hope you remember this, because you were so mad and I felt so bad afterwards. But you like to do a lot of sets of 300s and 500s all the time, descending up to the 300 or 500. And I actually like those sets too. I always felt like I was good at those.
You were very good.
But I remember we got to the last 500 of a set at Manville. Do you know what I'm about to say? You don't remember this? Oh my gosh. And so I always hated it when you whistled, because you whistled so loud. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do now.
Okay, and so I think we got, I don't know if it was a 300 or it was probably a 500. And I was killing it. I was going fast. And I remember you were just whistling so loud, so obnoxiously, because I'm sure if you know him at all, he whistles like a maniac.
But it's because I'm excited about the way you're swimming.
Of course, and I appreciate that.
Yes.
But it always drove me insane for whatever reason. Like, it just got under my skin, even though you were like supporting us.
Yes.
And I remember I just got like so frustrated, again, for like no reason at all. Probably my like teenage hormones just like kicking in or something. And I remember I took a breath and I screamed, "Shut up!" in the middle of my 500, breathing. And I remember I touched the wall and you would not even look at me. You were so mad and I instantly felt horrible.
I got over it.
Oh, I know you got over it. And that was like uncharacteristic of me. Like, I feel like I only had a few, no, I mean, I had moments here and there. I feel like a few times a year I would have like a little meltdown where I just kind of lost it out of nowhere.
You're not the only one.
I wasn't the only one.
No.
Swimming's hard.
Yeah.
Swimming's a hard sport.
You know, my daughter Clara.
Yep.
She will not let me cheer for her when she swims.
Really?
She thinks that it's very distracting to her. So
Yeah.
I've learned to stand there and watch her now.
I actually think I was the same way, and I remember Coach Juan would always get like right there, and like he would get like, if I never wanted to be in lane 1 or 8, because I remember Coach Juan would just get right up in your face and start like doing a little faster.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Well, and you don't know if that's like you're doing really good or you need to pick up pace if you're in like a longer distance race or something like that. And so it would always throw me off. And so I'm with Clara. I wasn't a fan of that either.
Well,
but
we do all-time top 10.
Yep.
And we have it listed on our website. So if you've never looked at it, look at it.
Okay.
We have a girl, Ryan, that just went 59.4 in the 100 back as a 12-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
From her best time was 106.
Yeah.
And she broke Catherine Wu's team record.
What?
So everybody should know Catherine Wu on the club,
Yeah.
even though she is already out of college.
Catherine Wu was a stud.
Yeah, she was really good. So anybody breaking those records are really good.
Do you want to hear one more Catherine story about breaking records? Actually, why do I have so many stories of Catherine?
Because
okay, so one of them was at Far Westerns, and it was a 9 or 10 lane pool. It was our first Far Westerns.
that was Concord, California.
Yes.
And it was a 9-lane pool.
Yes. And there were 8 heats of 50 finals,
Yes.
4 heats of 50 free, 4 heats of 50 back.
Yes.
She went into finals, I think, 7th seed. So I think that was lane 2 that she was in. It was lane 2. And it was the weirdest thing because 6 of the 8 winners were 7th seed.
Came out of lane 2.
They won from lane 2. And we started calling that Jesus lane. And Catherine broke a record, but she also got DQ'd because Catherine always like swam at a slant. Even when she dove in, we called it a CW dive because she would like dive in sideways. And she came up almost in the other girl's lane. And they DQ'd her, and then she started crying hysterically in front of them, and they retracted it immediately.
No, it was like they kept winning from lane 2.
Yeah.
And I looked at Coach Juan. I said, Catherine's in lane 2.
Yeah.
And she broke the golf record and everything.
Yeah.
So
that was good stuff.
And then Matt Wall went a freakishly fast 50 free
Did Matt
relay.
win from lane 2 as well?
Like he swam the split and out split Bofang.
Well, it was downhill, remember?
Yes, it was weird.
It was a downhill slope pool ever so slightly. And then we called it Jesus lane because everyone won from lane 2 and everybody wanted to be in lane 2.
Yeah.
And we thought lane 1 was getting the draft from the warm-up, or like the waves from the warm-up, warm-down pool. The middle lanes were getting each other's waves, and lane 2 just
it was
had
funny.
it made.
They actually, after like the first 4 heats when everybody won from lane 2, they just said, hey, we're having a coaches meeting, we're going to flight it and go like 4 in one heat and 5 next. And all the coaches said, no, we're going to run it.
Yeah.
And they kept winning.
Oh,
from lane 2.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So even the coaches were talking about it.
Oh yeah, it was so apparent. But it was funny.
That's awesome.
Well, good. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Friendswood.
Yes.
Yep.
And by the way, at that Far Westerns meet in San Jose, you made your first winter junior qualifying time. And I think you were the first person ever to make winter junior swim Parallel Aquatics.
Yep.
We went to the University of Tennessee for that first one.
And that's a story too.
It was cool though.
Do you remember?
Oh, I
Do you remember what happened and how? Oh my gosh, Coach John, why didn't I swim that time trial?
That's on me.
So I was the first one to qualify for junior nationals at Far Westerns whenever I was 6. I just turned 16, and I remember you had told me Coach Sean was never at my best meets ever, and it's like I almost feel like it's a joke now. He was never there because he didn't go to that meet. But I remember before we left for that meet, already dropped 3 seconds that season, and so you were like, "Hey Justin, I think you should go for like a 2:11 200 back."
You would have made NCSA.
Yeah, and that was another 3-second drop, and I was like, "That's a pretty good goal." Like normally I disagreed with your goals, but I was feeling good that summer.
Yeah.
And I went a 2:09.9 in prelims after the worst warm-up the day before my entire life. Like whenever you just feel so sluggish that you can't even move. And I remember hitting the third 50 in prelims and not hurting at all, and that's when you start to hurt in a 2 back. And then I went a 2:09.9. I remember throwing my hand over my mouth and being like, oh my gosh. And then went a 2:08 in finals.
And just missed making your first long course junior cut.
Yeah, which I never got that cut.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But then at juniors in Tennessee, my first turn. I remember getting up behind the blocks, and I was always a small guy. I never really filled out. And I remember looking at the 2 guys on either side of me for prelims of the 2 back, and they were giant, and I was so freaked out. And I remember turning the first wall, and my foot went in the gutter. And people were watching from home, and I remember people were like, "Oh!"
Yeah. I even went, "Ooh!" I'm on the side of the pool. But all learning experiences.
Well, yeah. And I choked on 5 of my 6 turns.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, it was constant water. Oh, that was crazy.
We went to Greensboro.
Yep.
That's where Caleb Dressel was like a high school. He might have even been a senior that time. He went like 18.8 in the 50 free.
Yeah, we were walking in, and I remember me, Jaden, and Madison heard like a roar inside the natatorium, which you never hear at swim meets.
Yes.
And then we saw the scoreboard, and he had just broke. He was the first high schooler to break 19 in the 50 free.
Yeah. And next to him was Ryan Hoffer, who was a sophomore.
Yeah.
And Ryan Hoffer, the next year, was a junior at the University of Texas. He swam in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
And at the University of Texas, Winter Juniors went 18.71 in the 50 free.
Yep.
And he 41 something in the 100, and his 100 broke the University of Texas pool record.
Yeah.
A high school junior.
And Lily King was at that. I remember, she wasn't big or anything yet, but I remember her breaking a nag at that meet too. And then obviously we know where she is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of big names at some of these meets we went to.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Grand Prix. There were a lot.
Yes, we went to the Grand Prix at the University of Texas, and it was like so big, but there were so many Olympians.
Katie Hoff. It was Margaret Holzer, Aaron Pearsall, Dana Vollmer, Rebecca Sony.
This was March of 2010, and Natalie, 2010? Yeah,
something like that.
Natalie Coughlin was her first meet back from the 2008 Olympics, where I think she won 7 or 8 medals too. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah. I don't remember her there.
Oh, because she was kind of seated with times that were a little older, and she was like in an outside lane, and I'm like, who is that? Because she just popped, and I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. She was so good. All right, you graduated Friendswood High School in what year?
2014.
And then where'd you go to for college?
I went to Southern Methodist University in Dallas.
And you swam all 4 years at SMU?
Yep.
Wow. I say wow because we have, people that go to college and swim for a couple years and then, stop swimming. So swim.
There's nothing wrong with that, but no, it's hard to make it through.
I know, that's why, it's cool. What are some of your fondest memories while at SMU?
Oh gosh, it's interesting because like college swimming was different than high school swimming for me, and so I feel like most of my better memories were outside the pool, to be completely honest.
Well, that's part of it, right? Building relationships with people, hopefully for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, I mean, from a swimming perspective, I remember I had a good freshman year meet. I qualified for the conference. I got to score on the conference team my freshman year, which I didn't think I was going to get to do. I remember my freshman year, this wasn't like necessarily an athletic swimming memory, but it was with the team. Over winter training, it was like 30 degrees outside constantly. They had just torn down our indoor pool, so we were swimming outdoors. People, we like changed in like a closet, and we would like run up frozen stairs, and people would slip and fall, and that was a crazy winter. We got so bored because all we were doing was we were eating, sleeping, swimming, repeating, that we played a game of Assassins. So it was like a Nerf gun game, where we were all assigned a target by a godfather who we didn't know who it was, but we would get text messages saying, here's your target, go out and get them, shoot them with your Nerf gun. And there was like a cash prize. And I remember there were like 24 of us, and I won, and it was a 9-day long game. But it was probably the most stressful like 9 days, like days of my life, because it felt like people were out for you. But that was a fun memory with the team that wasn't athletic based. It's weird. It's like I still feel like college is still pretty fresh, that like a lot of it hasn't totally sunk in yet. I just have a few really, really close friends from college. I wasn't like I was good friends with my team, but I was really close with like a select 4 or 5, 6 of them. And just little things like we would, I had a food Instagram, and we would go on food dates. like just kind of stuff like that, honestly, is what I...
Well, by the way, you haven't posted in Friends for Supper for a little while. I'm waiting.
No, I haven't done it.
Yeah, because I enjoyed looking at, I'm like, makes me want to go. Yeah. And I want to go to that restaurant. Mm-hmm. So it was very cool.
Yeah, I'm a little more busy midday whenever I did my post. Back then I would always post them at like 2 p.m. and so.
All right, so you spent 4 years swimming at SMU.
Yep.
And when did you graduate?
I graduated twice. Yes. So I finished my undergrad in 2017, and then I finished my master's a year later in 2018.
And what were your degrees in?
I did my undergrad in marketing, so it was a business degree, and then I did my master's in analytics.
So in 4 years, you swam for SMU, and you got an undergraduate and a graduate degree. Mm-hmm. And that, again, you know, when I look at the kids that are in our program and have just gone off or about to go off to college, and I get personally excited for every one of them, because I know it's an experience that they're going to go and cherish for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And I like to have them come back to practice when they're still in college, and they just let me know everything that's going on in their life. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of neat, and watching these people go on through the rest of their lives and see what people are starting to do.
Yeah.
Kyle Diffley came by the NAT with Brendan not too long ago.
Kyle was my training buddy.
Yeah, he was awesome in the water. Mm-hmm. And he
trained like a beast.
Yes. Did his underwater welding, got his, certificate, or graduated from dive school. Mm-hmm. And now he owns 2 homes.
Yeah, that's crazy. I follow him on like Snapchat and stuff like that. His stuff is hilarious. He does fun, crazy stuff.
His home, for some time, he's going skiing, and Brendan went with him not too long ago, because Brendan came in and trained. But it's just, again, watching you guys grow and do that part of your life. And then you graduated in 2018 with your master's?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you do after you graduated SMU?
I work at Disney.
Where?
Orlando.
Disney World.
Yep, Disney World.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I didn't think I would ever be there.
And how's it going at Disney?
It's good. It's crazy. I definitely didn't think I would end up there. Like it kind of fell into place. I had a cousin who did an internship there, and I didn't have much work experience. A lot because swimming was my job, and so I had a master's degree but no work experience, which is a little bit of like a contradictory statement right there for most people.
Yes.
And so I thought that an internship was a good way to kind of get real world experience without having all of the pressure associated with it right off the bat. And it was 7 months. It was a 7-month long internship, so I knew that it wasn't going to be I would just show up and then disappear. But yeah, I went there in June 2018, so I've been there for about a year and a half. I was doing this thing called Experience Insights Analytics, so it was looking at data from a guest experience perspective and trying to elevate it. So it wasn't money focused, which was really, really fun and cool. And then I got hired full time in November of last year in food and beverage revenue management, which are a lot of big words that most people don't understand. So I won't go into like crazy detail about it. But yeah, I've been there for a little over a year now, and I'm not gonna lie, I miss Texas a lot. Like, you grew up here and it's very normal and you don't think much of it, but now I'm that proud Texan who kind of misses the Lone Star State. So yeah.
You want to stay at Disney?
It's really hard to say right now. Whenever I moved there, I loved Dallas. Like, Dallas became home pretty quickly.
Oh wow.
Did you not know that?
I knew you liked it, but I didn't know that you liked it that much.
I love Dallas.
That's awesome.
Like I had really great community in Dallas, and it's a cool city. It's a growing city. There's lots of different areas. And so whenever I left, I think a lot of people were surprised that I wanted to leave Dallas because everything was going really well there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you're a swimmer, sometimes you live life almost a little safe because you get so ingrained in the sport. It becomes the center of your life, and which I chose that. Like I wanted that, you know. But I didn't really branch out too far outside of that, and I saw Disney as sort of a way to like kind of it was like I saw it as an adventure, you know. But I didn't really know what I was getting myself into either, and so I told myself whenever I first moved there that I would see it out for 3 years till the end of 2021 a lot, because that was the 20th, that's going to be the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, and it's going to be a crazy year there, and it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know right now if I'm going to come back to Texas or stay there. I feel like if I had to pick right now, I would say I'm probably going to come back to Texas at some point, just because I feel like that's where my people are at, you know, and I kind of underestimated that whenever I left. Like, people always say you want to like settle down somewhere with like your family and whatnot, and I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I just thought that just didn't make sense in my head. I was like, why would you want to stick where you've been your entire life? But I kind of get that now, kind of that I feel like I'm becoming that old person.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now Ann and I moved down here in 2006.
Yeah.
And besides our family,
Yeah. Y'all had nothing, really.
we don't really want to go back to Maryland at all.
Really?
We love it here.
Yeah.
So
Texas is pretty great.
I got it. All right, tell the people that are watching this something about you that is interesting or they might not know.
Okay. So I feel like we all have like our guilty pleasure, you know? And mine is reality competitive TV. So Survivor. Did you know that?
No.
I love that show. There's been I didn't start watching it until like 8th or 9th grade, so it was like around season like 21. Yeah, I started on 21. They're about to start season 40.
Wow.
And I've seen every season.
Wow.
I love, like, it's kind of like that competitive, strategic nature, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like whenever I played that game of Assassins my freshman year of college. I think that's why I won, because I had seen this show and I knew how to navigate
Look at that.
strategically.
And you won a little cash prize.
And I won a little cash prize too. It paid for books the next semester.
Whoa.
So, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, I've never seen one episode of Survivor.
Next season is all winners. So if 20 winners coming back, it's going to be a big one. So if there's a season to start.
Yeah, I'm good. But thanks.
Not interested.
No.
It's okay. It's okay. What's yours? Fun fact.
I don't have one really when I think about it, you know.
Yeah.
It when it comes to like juggling or I'm obsessed with something, you know, I think most people know me.
Yeah.
And I do.
You're obsessed with swimming?
Yeah, and it's funny because so is my wife.
Yeah.
You know, and it's some days we literally have to say to each other, okay, we're done. We cannot talk about swimming again because it consumes us. And I think our kids are like, all right, can we stop?
Yeah.
You know? So we've learned to kind of like flip the switch a little bit. Yesterday, I'm like, okay, I got workouts to take care of. And she's like, I'm not thinking about swimming until tomorrow.
You aren't going to get on swim? No swim on those days?
I do.
Oh, I do. I still look at it.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, well, we park here and we are back. And that's the end of the 3rd episode of the Peak Passenger Seat with Justin Bertelsman. So look forward to it when you're watching this. This was the day after Christmas. So I hope everybody had a merry one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.